Good afternoon, Shay Rudolph. Welcome on VH Berries.
Thank you. I'm super excited to talk to you.
I am super excited as been very grateful because you are a genius. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I've been doing homework basically all day, but it's not too bad. And then I was just hanging out with my cat like right before we started this. She was being super sweet, which is really unusual for her, so that was nice.
Right from the beginning, Shay Rudolph, I saw that on one of your walls, you have actually a very large black universe
Yeah.
with the sentence, hold to another
Yes.
universe, come on
Yes.
in.
Yeah, that's in my bedroom. My sister and I, we used to share a room, and there was one point where I think she was 13 and she wanted to start redecorating it, and it was just a wall decal that she picked out, and I haven't taken it down since. I really love it.
Actually, I was more, Shay Rudolph, into another theory, which is that you are trying to hide another past mistakes by putting those very powerful black ink over everything.
That's a good art trick to just paint over things, but no, it's just a wall decal.
Absolutely, and I would love to discuss about your universe because
Ooh.
you always have this fascination for nature with butterflies, birds, and plants, but also it translates, first of all, with a production company and A24 and a movie, Lady Bird.
I love Lady Bird. It's one of my favorite movies. I love, honestly, like all A24 movies. They're my favorite.
And Shay Rudolph, what would you say is your meaning of A24 and what it represents for you?
Ooh, I think A24 just always makes really tasteful, artistic films that have really compelling storylines and really, really good actors, and the cinematography is always beautiful. And, they have such a diverse range of movies too, but I feel like every single one of them that I watch ends up being a favorite of mine. So I don't know if they just always sprinkle in some extra magic or something, but they always make incredible movies.
And Shay Rudolph, your universe slash journey also have a very compelling storyline with what we can call a snowball effect. With a very recent project
Yes.
called the Babysitter Clubs. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Babysitters Club is a really special project to me. It was my first big role that I've ever gotten, and it was something that I really, really wanted because for a while before I got it, I had been kind of wishing that I would work on a project with other young girls my age and be able to become close friends with them and just work on something that's like very sweet and true to who I actually am. And then the Babysitters Club audition fell right into my lap, and Stacy is a character that is very close to my actual personality, and I was working with other girls who were right around my age, and we got super close just like I had wished for. So it was just incredible. It was an amazing experience, and I'm so, so grateful for it.
Making up some friends, Shay Rudolph, but are you really sure about that? Because at the very beginning of season 1, there is actually a misunderstanding with a special enemy because she's offering you Twistler and watermelon gummies.
Oh yeah, I think that's between the characters, but in real life we were really good friends, but it's just because they didn't know that Stacy couldn't eat candy. So yeah, there's a lot that goes on with that storyline. I don't want to spoil anything if people haven't seen the first season, but yeah.
Absolutely, but without spoiling the first season, Shay Rudolph, we can reveal that your character is very smart with a very detailed knowledge about marketing because she's suggesting that targeted social media ads are probably the best marketing strategy because we are figuring out the best ratio of click-through to investments.
Yeah, I feel like Stacy is a very, very savvy girl. She knows exactly what she's doing at all times, and she's very smart, like you said. I agree.
Absolutely. And in the more global view, what is very inspiring about the Babysitter Club is the inspiring messages behind it, because your character has a disease called diabetes with sugars because her pancreas is not making enough insulins, and we can see all the emotional pains and journey she's going through.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like Babysitters Club is one of many shows that are out there that really hit on these larger subjects that a lot of people can relate to and a lot of people wish to see on the screen, because representation comes in so many forms, and I feel like the Babysitters Club really, really hits on all the different ways that you can represent different types of people, and in a very natural and sweet and funny and charming way as well. I think it's just, I might be biased because I'm part of the show, but I think it's an incredible show.
I am very curious, Shay Rudolph, about the early days and the genesis of this project, because you just told me that you always wanted to do a project, a television series, for example, with some of your co-stars of your generation, of our generation. Can you tell us about the very beginning and how it all started?
Yeah, so with the Babysitters Club, I got the first audition, and it was just like any regular audition. At this point, the pandemic hadn't happened, so it was still in-person auditioning, which is my personal favorite. I think a lot of people prefer in-person auditions, but so I went into the casting office and everybody was super sweet, and I try not to dwell on auditions too much and overthink them, because then I get a little bit more upset if I don't end up booking the role. So I went in there, I did as best as I could, and I felt pretty good about it, but I tried to just forget about everything and move on. And then I got a call back and I went back in person. I wore the same shirt that I wore the first time, which ended up being part of what makes it my lucky shirt now. And then I heard from that callback that I was up for a chemistry read, and so my dad drove me up for the chemistry read, and that was also in person, which was so fun because I got to meet all the different girls that were going out for all the roles. So it was a room full of like a bunch of us, basically 13-year-olds, all trying out for the Babysitters Club, and they were kind of doing like mix and match, like they'd take different ones of us for each role and put us together and see if we had chemistry, which is why it's called a chemistry read. See if we worked together, see if it felt supernatural. And then by the end, they put us in the group that ended up being cast, and they told all the other girls that they could leave and they just needed to redo our audition because there was an error with the video. So they completely tricked us. We went back in, everybody else left, and we did the scene again so that we wouldn't be suspicious of everything. And then while we were on video, like while they were recording our audition, they told us that we booked the role. And so it was the 5 of us standing in there. We were freaking out. I started crying from happiness. It was the first time I ever cried out of joy. And then we brought our parents in. We told them. It was just a super sweet moment. And I've truly never had anything like that where I'm told that I booked a role in the room with the other people who booked the role. And it was just, oh my God, it was magical. And then we went and we filmed, and it was all super, super fun.
I can feel, Shay Rudolph, the emotion when you're describing that very specific day. And what is that lucky shirt for the people who don't know about it?
I don't know if I've ever posted a picture in it or anything. I mostly just do auditions in it, like if it's something that I really care about, because I feel like it'll bring me luck. I don't know, but it's like a striped shirt. It has like pastel colors and white, and I don't know, I literally got it years ago, and I just wore it to the audition for Stacy because I was like, I don't know, this feels very Stacy McGill, and then now I wear it like all the time for auditions, but it's just a cute like pastel striped shirt, yeah.
That's very fascinating. And one other person, or should I say character, who loves reading is obviously Claudia Kishi, because I feel that every of her sentences could be a quote that we could write instead of your actual whole universe on the wall. For example, I've grown accustomed to a certain quality of life, sable paint brushes.
Yeah, Claudia, she's also a very smart, savvy character. I love Claudia Kishi, and Stacy and Claudia are definitely like power best friends. They are awesome. They're everything that everybody wants to be, I'd say.
Everything that everyone wants to be, Shay Rudolph. And this title has actually 2 seasons, and if I understood correctly, it all happened in terms of working during a 3 years span of time. What would you say was the most important step forward from season 1 to season 2?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that. I think for me personally, the most important step in my growth was actually, it happened when I watched season 1, because I saw all these tiny little acting habits that I had that obviously other people who are just watching the show wouldn't pick up on, but me, I was watching with a very critical eye and seeing if there was anything that I could change or improve for the second season. So then I went into the second season with all those things in mind, and I was really working on trying to get more into the character and just be a better actor overall and not let those tiny little habits slip through. So I know there are a lot of actors that can't watch themselves, and sometimes I don't enjoy it either because I do watch it with that critical eye and it gets very, like, I start to overthink things. But I think that was one of the most helpful things I could have done for myself, to just see what I needed to do to get further into Stacey and help bring the storylines to life a little bit better. So yeah, I think that was the biggest step.
I totally understand that, to see yourself again on the big screen, to notice those small details that I would never notice because of the overall environment, music, dialogues, and all of the frames. And from season 1 to season 2, Shay Rudolph, they're actually a new character, a new fictional character called Esperanza Kensington from the United States Census Bureau.
Yeah, that was funny. I totally forgot about that. Oh my God.
And I also love the way your crew, your team, at a very young age already has one of the best camera ever that you found on a marketplace, which is the Fujifilm X-T10, because I am currently using the Fujifilm X-T4.
Oh my
so
gosh.
very close.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, no, Stacey and Claudia, they always find the most incredible things, especially I'd say with both of their wardrobes. They have amazing style and amazing clothes. That was, like, honestly one of the best parts of playing Stacey, just being able to wear all those really, really cool, really gorgeous clothes.
And Shay Rudolph, this title is all about babysittings, the babysitting club versus the babysitting agency. Do you have a very personal relationship with babysitting growing up?
Yeah, I actually, over these past couple of years, I have been a babysitter, like, during the school year to make a little bit of just, like, extra money, because I'm still a teenager. Like, I need pocket cash, I need a small job, so I am a babysitter too, which everybody, anytime I tell somebody that, they always laugh and make a joke about the Babysitters Club, but it's a really good job, and I love kids, and it's honestly really fun. So my sister does it too, so we'll kind of sometimes do it together, or like I'll take over her jobs when she's off at school and things like that. So yeah, I'm a babysitter on screen and in real life.
That's a very funny information, Shay Rudolph. And on one hand, there is babysitting, but also nowadays, more and more commonly, there is the dog sitting with animals that you can walk around. It can be another option.
Yeah, I've never done that, but I do love animals a lot. I have my cat, and I do love dogs, even though I don't have a dog, so I might need to try that out sometime.
you will need to try that out, Shay Rudolph. And I have a suggestion for you. Instead of posting a random announcement on TikTok or Instagram, you could do like the television series. Instead of buying a billboard, you can be a human billboard.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, it's a smart advertising tactic, I gotta say.
In reality, it's not working at all. But to make a transition with one of your other passions, with all of that pocket money, as you can call it, you will be able to afford the electric guitar, but not any electric guitar, the one you were using during the video clip of your own Nirvana song. Can you tell us a little bit more about these extraordinary music performances?
That was super fun. That's the first and only music video I've ever done, and it was with one of my close friends, McKenna Grace, because she's starting to transition into like putting out her own music, which is super incredible. I'm so proud of her for that. And she asked me if I'd be part of the music video because I play guitar in real life. So that electric guitar was actually my own personal guitar that I brought. It was a Christmas present a couple years ago. I absolutely love it. I honestly prefer acoustic, but I also love electric. So that was my personal guitar, and I brought it to set, and we filmed that music video, which was super unlike anything else that I've ever done before, because I've never really like played a character that's punk rock, or in my personal life I don't have that style or anything, so it was fun to kind of step into someone else's shoes and like feel like a rock star for a day, you know?
Absolutely. You had Shay Rudolph, a rock star style, and that includes, for example, gothic, or I don't know if it's the right adjective, but emo makeup.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious about the reason why you are preferring acoustic one. I assume this is because this is more natural and close to the nature, because you cannot find an electric plug to plug your electric guitar in the middle of the wood.
Yeah, you definitely can. I don't know though. I like the sound of the acoustic guitar more, and I think it's like a lot of the songs that I listen to naturally are on an acoustic guitar. So if I want to learn those songs, it just automatically sounds better on an acoustic. And it just has a warmer tone, and I recently got a new acoustic guitar because mine before was like a super cheap used one that I got just in the beginning of me learning how to play guitar, because we didn't want to spend a bunch of money on something if I wasn't going to do it for years and years. But now I've been playing it for a couple years, so I decided to invest in a better one, and it's red, it's super pretty, it has the most beautiful tone ever. So anytime I want to play guitar, I'm just automatically drawn to that one because I'm obsessed with it.
In definitive, Shay Rudolph, in less than a decade, you went from starting from zero in cinema to make that video clip with your friend McKenna Grace. And I would love to retrace this journey that started at a very young age, because you were born into that environment. Can you tell us a little bit more about those early days?
Just like my early acting days?
The places where everything started, that fire.
Yeah, so I've kind of always done acting, if I really think about it, or always some form of performing, I meant to say. And I've always been a very creative person because my mom is an artist. She's a graphic designer, so I've grown up in a very creative household. But if I really look back on it, I've done acting since like elementary school. I would do musical theater, like our school plays, and I always loved those. But I never really thought of it as something that I could do as a career until a little bit later, when I started taking acting classes. And then through the acting classes, there was an audition for this kind of, I don't know the right word for it, maybe like convention, where agents and managers come and they watch young actors perform, and then they see if they want to like meet with you and sign with you. And it was very intimidating all at that point because I was still only like 10, but So I auditioned for that through where I was taking acting classes. And then at that place, there were a bunch of agents and managers that contacted me and wanted to go out on meetings. And then I signed with my first agency and my manager. And then from there, I started just going out on a bunch of auditions. And obviously, I didn't book many of the first ones. But when I was 11, I booked my first role ever, which was a student film. And that was just, oh my God, that was really where it all started. Because for me, the true magic happens on set when you're surrounded by the other artists that are all collaborating to create this piece of art. And that is just the most incredible feeling in the world. And so the second I stepped foot onto that set, I just knew that it was exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And since that moment, I've kept doing auditions and I've booked other roles. And now I'm here still auditioning, still hoping that this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I love it.
And Shay Rudolph, when I'm listening to your story and what you're telling me, I can feel that you have a very special relationship with magic, because it was, remember, the theme of one of the theme of the Babysitter Club, because we can see some moment with some chord and the census organization that I mentioned. Would you say that you had the sort of luck, accepting, of course, the lucky shirt that you always use?
Yeah, I think I've always been drawn to magic and thinking about fate and luck and all those kinds of things. As I mentioned earlier, in terms of reading books, I've always loved fantasy books and just kind of like worlds that are very different than our own, because they kind of give me the sense of like escaping and just like running off into this different land. But so that's kind of also what I like to write. I like writing a lot of fantasy and magic and just things that you don't typically see in this world, because I feel like there's something so special about it, and you can kind of do anything when it comes to magic. So yeah, I think that carries through with a lot of my personal life, thinking about luck and trying to manifest things and wishing for stuff that I want.
And Shay Rudolph, I also feel that you always have this sense of challenges. And what am I saying when I'm saying that is that you are ready to always start from scratch. For example, in a new discipline, starting with the letter S. I am talking, Shay Rudolph, about screenwriting.
Yes, I love screenwriting. I think what it means to me is kind of exactly what you said, like just starting off on my own path and taking something that I love and turning it into something new, because obviously I love storytelling, I love acting, I love movies, but at a certain point, I realized that I wanted to be part of creating the stories rather than just helping to tell them, because I feel like as an actor, you're often just, obviously you have a huge role, you play the character, you're telling the story, but as a screenwriter, if you're coming up with your own original movie or show or anything like that, you're the one that's in control and you are creating the entire story and the characters and the world and what it all means. And I feel like that is just exactly what we were talking about before. It's so magical. It's incredible. And I don't know. I just find it to be really, really fun to be able to take anything that could possibly happen in my mind and put it down onto a page and put it in a form that other people can understand. And it's something that I really, really hope is in my future, along with acting.
Along with acting, screenwriting along with acting.
Yes.
And Shay Rudolph, I feel that this is a perfect match, because I've heard that you have at least 1 million ideas.
Yeah, I do. My brain is always going. I always have ideas bouncing around. Yeah.
What would you say would be your opening debut? What I mean is the genres, because you are always into comedy, into the more dramatic side of it, and even better, the two in one room.
Yeah, the two together are really special. I would say kind of the same thing I've been saying, but probably fantasy is what I would really love. I think it's It's so special because you really can't do anything. But in terms of like actual like genres, like you were talking about, probably drama and comedy combined. I feel like it's a classic combination for a reason. They really just hit on a whole range of emotions, and they don't stay in the darkness for too long, or they're not always making you laugh. It's a really good balance of the two. But I love so many other genres. I really love horror. I love watching horror movies. I don't know if I would ever write a horror movie per se, but I never say never. So maybe one day I will, but I love horror movies. I love sci-fi, fantasy, drama, comedy, you name it. I will literally watch anything. So I don't know what I will end up writing and what will be my first thing that hopefully comes out, but yeah, we'll see. I'll see where it takes me.
Whatever A24 is doing, you will do, and you will create S26 or maybe one of your other favorite numbers.
Honestly, it would be a dream to work with A24 or make any movies of my own that are similar to those. So I hope that's what happens, yeah.
Absolutely, and if A24 is watching now, you have actually, the reason why I mentioned that is that you actually have the logo of that production company somewhere on your walls. That's why I mentioned that. In addition of having the Lady Bird cover.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of, this is tying back to what I was saying earlier of the whole like theme of magic, but it's part of my way of trying to manifest some things that I want in my future. So I have like a little Sundance logo, and I have A24, and I have posters of my favorite movies, because those are all points that I hope to reach in my life, and things that I hope to achieve, and art that I hope to create something similar to. So that's my way of manifesting. If I wake up and see it every day, then it's in my mind, and hopefully it can fall into place and be in my future too.
It is in your mind, Shay Rudolph, and to stay consistent, would you say that as the day of today, you have a sort of habits of writing to put those words, this black ink into the piece of paper?
I do journal sometimes, but not every day, because I forget about my journal a lot. But there are moments where if I'm really, really wishing for something, or I have a really strong emotion about something that's going on in my personal life or anything like that, I do often write it down, because I feel like it's a great way to kind of just get it out and let go of it. And especially when it comes to wishing for something to happen in your future, I feel like a big step of that is also letting go. So if I can write it down and kind of forget about it, then things often do just naturally fall into place, kind of like what I was talking about with the Babysitters Club, where it was just another audition and I tried to not think about it too much, and then everything fell right into place because I didn't really overthink or dwell on it. So yeah, journaling helps with that.
In conclusion, you have to reduce your time as a babysitter to be able to write better and write more. Thank you very much, Shay Rudolph.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly your point. But yeah, thank you.